Chances are, if you've played a lot of Overwatch, you've seen some players completely whiff their ultimates time and time again. Well, we've noticed as well and are here to count down the top 10 ultimates Overwatch players still don't understand. My name is Nathan, and welcome to Blizzard Guides. Consider this one a good guide to watch if you're trying to learn new heroes outside of the few that you're comfortable with. I'm putting in good advice and alternate uses for these ults even if you already know how to use these fairly well, so stick around and I'm sure you'll learn a new use. Coming in at number 10, Moira. This one is kind of an obvious ult to use, yet a lot of players don't seem to understand this ultimate, which I can understand to an extent. All of you DPS Moiras out there, you're doing it wrong. And all of you healer Moiras out there, you're also doing it wrong. Yeah, before you ult as Moira, you gotta do two things. First, get into a spot where you're behind your ally, preferably a tank, and right in front of that ally, you should be able to see an enemy that ally is trying to either block or attack. Then throw your healing or damage orb out depending on whether or not your teammate in front of you is low, and then just ult. You want to be getting your beam to do healing and damage at the same time ideally, and prioritize based on how much healing your ally needs. If they're super low in front of you, focus on healing, but once they're healed and aren't in necessarily a lot of danger, don't be afraid to try and get a kill with that beam. Also, try and use your ult with other ults in the game at the same time, or when you engage at least. Rarely should you ever use it when you've lost more than two teammates or by itself completely. Next up at number 9, Winston. Winston's ult is really confusing to use at times. There's only really two situations that you want to use it though. First, you want to try and use it whenever you're trying to contest point. That one people already know pretty well. But the other use is going to be using it as an escape ability. If you want to dive deep into the enemy lines and try and get a kill on something like their Mercy, Zen, McCree, or Hanzo, which are all somewhat diveable targets, if the enemy gets too much damage onto you, you can use your ult to quickly get your health back up and either finish the kill or escape immediately if you think that they are going to burn you down. Use it like this and you'll find that you do much more for your team. At number 8, Mercy. Some players still don't understand the crazy strong value of Mercy, and more specifically her ultimate. Her ultimate is probably one of the best escape abilities in the game. The self-regen and the ability to fly as well as rapidly Guardian Angel allows her to live nearly forever when she ults. Thus, you want to use your ultimate whenever you need to engage in a fight. Use it right when your team comes into contact with the enemy and you'll get so much more value. Also, whenever your teammates use a DPS ultimate, you have the awesome option of Valking as well. Valk plus Dragon Blade is a really good option, as well as something like Soldier's Ultimate. Valk is a really good substitute for something like Nano Boost, essentially. But lastly, don't use your ult whenever your teammates are already all dead. If there's already 3 people or so dead, don't ult, just save it. Next up at number 7, Arisa. Arisa's ultimate is really simple, but because her ultimate used to cost so much, you didn't see the ult used very often, so a lot of players just don't know how to use it. But now that she's been buffed, we're seeing a lot more supercharger use. Quite simply, just use your ult whenever your team is about to engage and you're going to lose the point or objective if you don't, or use the ultimate in combo with other ultimates like Dragon Blade, Bastion's ult, or Soldier's ult. If you are in overtime and trying to contest that point, Supercharger is a really great way to turn the tide in a high stakes battle like that. You probably don't want to use it whenever you're trying to recapture a payload or something like that, but if you're trying to recapture a capture point or you're trying to defend on overtime, using that ultimate is a really good option. Following up at number 6, Roadhog. Roadhog's ult isn't really a strong ult at times, so there's a lot of confusion around using his ult. Don't try and use it to get a kill if the enemy is in the open. That's really difficult to do considering your ult knocks them away. So if you want to get value, the way to go is using your ult whenever the enemy is grouped up in a small room. If you ult, you'll do crazy bulk damage and try to just get them stuck in a corner. You'll do so much more damage. Also, you can use your hook and then ult rather than left click to insta-give most enemies. This also really works well if you don't have any ammo left but you really need to get that kill. For example, let's say you hooked a Mercy, then ulting instead of left clicking because you don't have ammo is a really good option. At number 5, Widowmaker. Just stop using it as soon as you get it. That's it. Use it whenever the enemy is approaching closely or if there's an enemy Widow and you need to kill her. Sights is really useful to directly counter their Widow if you can aim well. Just stop using whenever you get it right off of cooldown. It takes a lot of charge to get and it's a tide-changing ultimate if you know how to use it properly, but far too many Widows, myself included, use it right as they get it. That's something that I've been trying to work on lately, so I included it in this list because Widow's very prevalent in this meta, even though it's kind of a more straightforward one. Following Following that, at number 4, we've got Doomfist. Doomfist ult is a bit of an odd one. If you're trying to go deep and you have your ultimate, you have the option to overcommit to a fight and try to go super deep for a kill. If you take too much damage, press Q and either go deeper after you get your ultimate off and get more kills, or just get out and use your ult as an escape. You can try and use it to get kills initially, but it is often far better to use all of your cooldowns to go in deep and then use your ult to try and escape or commit further, and while you're in your ult, just wait for your cooldowns to reset. Basically, you want to focus on using your ultimate as Doomfist as an escape and a get out of jail free card, rather than using it to actually try and get kills initially when you're engaging into the fight. Obviously, you do want to try and go for kills when you ult, but you're not going to be using it primarily to get the kills, rather you're going to be using it to escape from the fight. Next up at number 3, Symmetra's new ultimate. If you're trying to protect your team using that giant shield, a lot of players try and put it perpendicular to the enemy, in between you and the enemy. Rather, put it at an angle so that your team can pop in and out. And if you can, try and put the ult around a corner and at an angle, like in this video, so that your team effectively creates a strong choke and a corner to peek from where it is completely safe. Don't use it flat and straight between your teams. All that will do is make the enemy walk forward to negate your giant 5000 HP shield. Coming in at number 2, D.Va's Bomb. Stop going for kills. The ultimate isn't really going to get many kills unless you're in silver and below, where a lot of players don't have the awareness to dodge it usually. The surefire way to guarantee getting kills is by trying to deny the space to the enemy. If the enemy is on high ground, throw the bomb above the high ground and force them off of their advantageous spot. If the enemy is hiding behind a wall and that is causing you and your team a lot of trouble, throw your bomb behind the wall and force them out. Even if the bomb itself doesn't get kills, your team can get them. Try and treat it like a giant boop. Another really strong use of the ultimate is killing Pharah Mercy. If you bomb into the open air in the direction of the enemy while the Pharah Mercy is high up in the air, you'll usually get a huge kill on either the Mercy, Pharah, or both. You can also have the ultimate slide on walls to catch the enemy by surprise. This is another tactic that is extremely useful, but only do this if you know for a fact that the enemy doesn't have any shields to block it with. But even then, use it with the intention of forcing the enemy out of position, not going for that big 6k bomb. And lastly, the worst ultimate of them all, High Noon. High Noon is just a bad ultimate. There's really only 2 ways to use it. Surprise the enemy from high ground or use it behind your team whenever they're all collectively pushing in. This will net you kills, but the main problem that I see a lot of mccrees doing is just the fact that they're trying to go for those kills and then they end up stuck in High Noon and get killed by the tracer that flanks behind them. You don't want to use High Noon and overcommit to it. If all the enemies are hiding from your High Noon, you're not going to get any value out of it, so just cancel your ult, use that reload, and continue fighting. Even if you waste your High Noon, it's better than being dead and not being able to commit any value to the fight. So mccrees, just please stop dying in your ult, please. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. A lot of these ultimates are really strong or easy to use, but there's a lot of misconceptions around the ultimates in this video. If you like any other ultimates explained, feel free to leave a comment letting me know which ultimate you'd like explained. And if you have any other questions about the game in general, feel free to let me know in the comments down below or tweet me on Twitter. Also, if you thought this video was helpful, feel free to drop a like to let us know that you liked this video. And if you really enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you haven't already. I love making videos for you guys, and this always helps us out a lot. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Have a nice day. My name is Nathan, and this was Blizzard Guides.